actually. Let's drink because I need to. Oh, I don't take advice from a girl who drinks Coors Light. Well, I bet you drink PBR, so. If you don't drink, you can at least drink some water. Shove a carrot up your ass, I don't know. Today I wanted to talk about feminism. And I know that feminists get a really bad rep. Listen, the reason why feminists get a bad rep is because people would much rather focus on the negative, because there's more to talk about when something's negative. It makes us feel better to complain, and then, you know, to try and like solve problems, rather than when you look at something that's already accomplished and good, you're just kind of like, okay, awesome, cool, yay. There's nothing else to really say about it once you just acknowledge that it's something good. But when it comes to feminists, people just think that we're all man haters and that we get pissed at men for holding the door open for us because they think that they own us or something. People think that we're just crazy, like hating men, and that we're better than men, and I personally don't believe that. I just don't believe that. To me, being a feminist means that I want to be treated equally as a man. I want to be able to own property and get the same kind of job that a man can, or get the same pay as he does, or I want to be able to vote, you know. And you're probably thinking like, bitch, we can already do that. Yeah, I know we can do that, and there's a reason for that. It's called feminism. If it weren't for feminists, if it weren't for women who believe that we deserve better, we would not be where we are today in America, at least, or Canada, or France, or Italy, or Australia, or England, or wherever women are free to be, whatever the hell they want to do. We wouldn't be here today without feminists. We wouldn't be here. And those are like the real MVPs, because they like took life by the balls. They're like, we want to be treated the same. We want to get the same opportunities. Like, we want to be treated as equals, not like we're less than. You know, I agree that men and women are not 100% equal, because first of all, we're just biologically different. We have different genitals. We grow facial hair differently, as in we don't typically. We can have babies. Yeah, we have estrogen, like more estrogen than a man, and a man has more testosterone
than a woman.
Yeah, we're not the same, but we're all human and we're all one species. Like, we're like two genders. Don't come at me with like the multiple genders. I can't. That's all like, you know, a mental thing, and I'm okay with it. Like, but I'm just mentally, like, you can create whatever gender you want to be, or you can change it. That's totally okay. But I'm just saying, like, physically, there are two genders. That's just like science. And so we're different in that aspect, but we're the same because we literally have the same organs, aside from the reproductive organs. But we have the same organs, we have the same kind of brain. Like, we all make choices and decisions, and we all thrive as a species just the same way. For me, it's just insane to think that men, like, why are men the alpha, whatever the hell, in human society? It's oh, but they're so strong. Yeah, that's the only thing that you really have against women, that you're stronger sometimes. Like, awesome. Listen, I'm not a man hater. I love men. So yeah, that's what being a feminist means to me. I'm not some crazy man-hating, crazy-ass bitch. I'm just like, hey, I want to like get the same job as you, bro, and get paid the same for the same experience. I feel like that's just reasonable. Is that not reasonable? Because it seems like it's pretty reasonable. I choose to follow it because I choose to follow feminism because it makes sense to me. It just makes logical, realistic sense. You know, I can't imagine a world without feminism, because if nobody was a feminist and nobody stood up for the rights of women, we would all be relying on men for the world to go around. And do we risk like half the population of the Earth's happiness? Women have come up with a lot of stuff that men haven't come up with, so I just feel like it's an equal partnership between humanity to help each other out, do the same things, you know? Because here's the thing. When it comes to feminism, people think that we don't need it, because besides the whole like angry feminist thing, whatever, you might be sitting here thinking like, oh, but you can vote, and you can get the same job, and you can own land, and you can do all these things. Like, what are you complaining about? Why are you still trying to advocate for women's rights when you already have them? It's the same argument as vaccines. And I have a very strong opinion about vaccines, but that's not what we're talking about today. But I can compare it to vaccines because there comes a certain point right now where like people are like, hey, we've been fine without, we've been fine. Like, there's no diseases. We don't need vaccines. They've worked for so long and we just don't need them anymore. Like, we're all safe. We're all good. That's that. We don't need to vaccinate. No, because if we stop vaccinating, then we're all going to get infected with diseases. Or at least the people who cannot be vaccinated will all get diseases and everyone's just gonna fucking die. Yeah, you can't really say that's not true because it is definitely true. Do you remember when what's that dog wolf's name where he had to, trudge his way through the snow to deliver the vaccines to the sick girl, boy, whoever the hell. You know what movie I'm talking about? Listen, he didn't bust his ass for nothing. If we stop having feminism, we're going to go back to where we have no rights. And it's like, politicians are slowly trying to do it. And so, people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s are more stuck back in the old ways where it's like, yeah, men were more of a top dog and women aren't. Politicians are like, hey, like, we don't need Planned Parenthood. Who gives a shit about women? Who cares about their need for abortions and their, their birth control and their pap smears and breast exams? Like, we don't need that. And it's like, come on, bro. Like, you don't even have tits. You don't even have a uterus. So why do you have any say on that? Have you ever gotten pregnant and not wanted it? Like, no. That's never happened to you, so you have no right to fucking say anything about my uterus or my ovaries or my boobies. So it's just insane to me that these old ass men are trying to change the way women live their life. Listen, I feel like eventually, maybe in like 10, 20, 30 years, when the people of like my age become in their position, at that age that they're at, we'll be better off because we have more modernized thinking of like, oh yeah, maybe everybody should be in charge of their body and maybe women should be considered equals because we're all human and the world just works better. People are just happier when we're all treated the same way. So yeah, if anybody in the comment section, if anybody sees this video and comments on it and tries to say anything that feminism is this, and that, and it's negative, I'm not going to listen to anything that you're going to say because you just have a very skewed idea of feminism. That's bottom line, you have a really bad idea of feminism. You think that it's evil, you think that it's man-hating, you think that it is a bad movement. And the bottom line is, real feminism is not a bad movement, it's not a bad thing. It is something that we need as a human species. In order to thrive and to be happy, we all need to get along and we all need to be treated the same way, unless you're like a pedophile or a murderer or whatever. But men and women in general, we should all be treated the same way and have the same opportunities because that just makes the world a better place. I want to be able to rent an apartment. I want to be able to have funds in my bank account and not have to have a husband to release them to me. Handmaid's Tale. For hundreds and thousands of years, women have not been treated the same. We haven't even been able to vote, for like past like 100 and something years ago. We weren't able to vote before like 100 and something years ago. So, I mean, come on. So yeah, I mean, if you are against it, like I feel bad for you because you just have a really skewed view on it. Like when I went out in public and I had a t-shirt that says Feminist on it, I got the dirtiest looks from people. I got like people were looking at me like, people were looking at me crazy. Like, I had an aborted fetus picture on my shirt, which that's not what I had on my shirt. I had the word feminist on my shirt. Maybe people think that I'm crazy. But we don't, oh my god, how can we stop that way of thinking? How can we stop the idea that women who say they're feminists are crazy? How can we stop that? If you believe what I believe, if you think that men and women and all above should be treated the same, call yourself a feminist. Take back that word and make it positive again. Take that back and own it, because people might be feminists and don't even want to call it feminist because they just think that feminist means something bad. And if you think that you are, a feminist, like, the way I explain it, call yourself feminist and explain why you're feminist and why you chose to have, and you know, it's not even like about labels. You know, my roommate told me, he was like, well, how about you just call yourself a women's rights activist? I mean, I guess you can, but that just doesn't roll off your tongue as easily as feminist does. There's like no other word for what I'm trying to get there's no other word for it. There's no other word except women's rights activist or feminist. I just want to say feminist because it's easier to say. I just want to call it feminist. I don't understand what's so hard about that. So if you believe what I believe, call yourself feminist and stand up for feminism, because I think that it's important. And I think that we need to take that word back. We need to take the idea and make it bigger, and we need to really broadcast it so that women can continue to have normal lives like men can. So yeah, that's what I believe. If you like this video, share it everywhere, because I want people to know about this. I feel like not a lot of people really know. I just, people like might have the idea like, yeah, women are treated equally, but they don't really know what to call it, and they don't really know how to advocate for it. I mean, maybe like women's rights, yeah, but like just spread this idea around, spread it around, just fuck yeah, spread it.